Welcome to the Outbound Sales Podcast with your host, Jeff Swan. Each week, we're going to be talking to sellers, sales leaders, and company founders who are sharing their secrets to getting over 10 meetings booked per month per rep. Every episode is going to be packed full of tactical and practical tips you can use to fill your funnel today. So thank you and happy hunting. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Outbound Sales Playbook podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Swan, and with me today is a good friend and colleague, Ryan Woodard of Edify. Ryan, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hey, everybody in the podcast world. My name is Ryan Woodard. I am the SDR manager at a company called Edify.cx. We are a cloud native contact center solution. So if you're looking to modernize your contact center, get more of a cloud infrastructure, and the great thing about ours is we're a multi-cloud architecture solution. So you don't have to be inconvenienced by an outage by any of the major server providers. We are just a great solution. We're trying to bring new and exciting things to the contact center space. And we've got some great customers and some great people running the show here. And we are excited about what's next with Edify. So
that's amazing, Ryan. Thanks for your intro. And so when you're selling to these contact centers, what people, like what personas are you selling to?
Sure. We are, there's a number of different stakeholders in the contact center. It is like a mission critical piece of software. So oftentimes there's some IT involvement. There's going to be directors of like customer success, or contact center managers have a lot of skin in the game there as well. So a couple different or a few different personas there that we usually try and strike up those conversations with.
Awesome. And how do you know what problems that you solve? Like, how do you find out in your prospecting, in your research, whatever? How do you know what problems are most prevalent?
It's a few different approaches. So one is kind of the typical gleaming information from like a social LinkedIn profile, whatnot. But then there's also your industry publications on, like the forecast for the contact center in 2022 and beyond, or Forrester and Gardner type reports that can give you some insights as well. And then it's just from making the dials and having the conversations and active listening and being able to recognize when there's similar kind of pain points from prospects and connect those dots there.
Cool. Yeah. And I think it would be good for context. I mean, you're not talking, small 5K deal size or anything. Like from what I understand, you're in the six figures, right?
Correct. Yeah. Average contract value is going to be in the six figures for this type of solution. We consolidate a number of different disparate data solutions into one. It lives on one screen for the agent. And kind of one of the most exciting things, a couple really exciting things, is our partnership with Google, which has allowed us to be a Chrome certified contact center solution. So we're recommended by Google. We work on Chromebooks. You can send your agents away if there's like a pandemic or anything like that. And you don't have to worry about like heavy investments into hardware. I use the Jabra, I think it's the Evolve 65-2. It's a Bluetooth headset. It works with Chromebook, and with just an internet connection, that simple Chromebook and a headset, you can run a modern contact center in 2022.
That's amazing. Yeah. Cause you don't need that big infrastructure. You don't need to buy a building with like all this, 1 terabyte or whatever, internet lines, all these other things. Like you can literally do it from your laptop with the headset.
Exactly. And the beauty of it being on a Chromebook is that operating system's hosted on Google's servers versus being on one single location. So with our service, it really does kind of eliminate the single point of failure, whether that's through the legacy way with switchboards and so forth, or with, sending people with hosted hardware, as far as like if it's Windows or Mac or so forth. Chrome is literally lives in the cloud. So a huge burden lifted from IT professionals and managing security and so forth.
That's awesome. So I always like to get context around, your situation and your team situation, because, we talk about booking at least 10 meetings a month, but it's important to note that, the difference between selling a $5,000 solution and a $200K solution, you don't necessarily have as many customers in the space of the 200K. So it's always good to get that context when we're talking about how your team puts up meetings on the board, so that we can have kind of that frame of reference. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Then with that said, how many meetings a month would you say your team books today?
Right now, we've actually had an uptake over the last quarter. And so we're trending for, as a team, which I have 3 reps that are on ramp. So I've only actually have 1 ramp that's full FTE off ramp and has been there longer than 6 months. And so even longer than 3 months. So very green squad. But my rep that's full FTE, she's been pretty steadily producing 4 to 5 meetings over the last quarter. And my new reps, one of them has booked 2 and a third one is for February. So she's completed 2. She's booked another for February. And I think this month we will end as a team with a total of 6 completed discoveries. So our goal was 7. So we're 1 short, but that's with 1 person being on rep and my 2 other people that started, they are on a 0 goal. So one thing we do different is we start you on a 0 goal just to build that muscle memory and build the prescriptive behaviors that we've kind of identified that bring success in a SDR role. And we've really seen just that it puts people at ease. It really does let them focus on, instead of maintaining a quota within the first 45-ish days, they can really just learn SaaS. They can learn the MarTech stack, and they can kind of get familiar with the technology enough to do those mundane muscle memory building lists, doing the things that I feel like SDRs despise the most, versus picking up the phone and having conversations and talking about technology and booking meetings and making money. So we've tried to have that be the focus, and there's some ramp milestones that they can earn some financial incentive around building those behaviors. So I think that's one of the cool things that our program has that really kind of sets us apart from some of the other SDR programs I've seen and heard about. So.
Oh man, I love hearing that. I'm curious, are you hiring right now?
Not at this moment, actually. That's one thing that is going great for us. We have a full staff right now, and that was actually one of my performance goals for myself for 2020 fiscal year. This next fiscal year is to maintain a certain FTE. So I will definitely keep you in mind, though, if that happens. I'll have to have you help me put the good energy out there to get some new SDR blood. I mean, that's really one of my favorite things is to bring somebody that didn't really think this was a career choice for them or career path, and open some doors and really just help them level up their own skill set, and in turn, hopefully, their life. And
for sure. No, and the reason I ask, obviously, is that I'm sure our listeners are hearing what you're saying about, giving that time to ramp up and get used to it. And it's a very different mentality that they're used to, likely, from a lot of sales leaders out there. So I think that you're probably going to get some LinkedIn requests after this to see about joining your team. So just get ready.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm part of the larger SDR kind of tribe and have got connections throughout. So definitely add me if there's opportunities that I can help with. Definitely there, definitely my doors are open. It's a revolving door. I'm happy to help out if I can.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan. No, I appreciate that. And I'm sure our listeners do too. So we're at 4 to 5 meetings a month right now. I know that, you yourself were an SDR. You've worked with SDRs for your whole career, or for much of your career. And so I'm sure you've seen this, but what do you think is different? Why do some sellers book less than 10, or why do some sellers struggle to put points on the board and actually get those meetings?
Yeah, I think a lot of reps struggle. One, the job is hard. It's not the easiest thing to do. And a lot of times the people you're calling on, if they're dealing with mission critical type of systems, you're interrupting their day. It's not a planned call. This isn't anything that they owe you. And hearing no or not, having like good leadership in place to kind of help coach and get out of that your own headspace can really kind of limit your ability to find success. And so we built a blueprint rather than having like call scripts that help people kind of get past that anxiety dump from that initial cold call, really settle into asking if this, first making sure they're the right person, and then just having like a normal kind of conversation with that human being, versus trying to go all into a sales pitch and like putting your own commission breath, I guess, like motivations onto that person. So we found that there's a lot of kind of unintuitive ways to overcome some of these objectives or objections. We tend to have like that deer in headlights kind of experience whenever you 50, 60, 70, 80 calls a day and you get 3 up. It can be kind of jarring if you're not prepared for it after you've gotten into a rhythm of just ring, 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 ring and voicemail. And so it takes a number of things to find success in an SDR role. I think first, like the addressable market has to be defined by sales leaders. There has to be honesty around the amount of meetings that the team is supposed to book versus historically what they've been able to close and bring in as far as revenue. And then it takes a lot of execution. SDRs can be their own worst enemy if they're, spent too much time on proper wording and doing a bunch of research versus kind of having a quick 3 to 5 minute way to glean information so that you are able to kind of like engage with that person and sound halfway competent and communicate clearly what you are seeking and be concise. And most people, if it's something that they feel like will help them when they give you a chance to kind of do your elevator pitch, so to speak, then there's the opportunity is endless. But if you're not in that mindset and you don't think you're going to get to those next places or even that anybody's going to pick up, then, you can be in a tough spot. So I think focusing on the behaviors versus the outcomes is kind of one big reason why a lot of SDRs not focusing on the behaviors instead of focusing on the outcomes, limits a lot of SDRs from booking 10 plus meetings a month.
Right. No, I would have to agree. From what I've seen is that a lot of times it's that, and I've spoken with so many amazing sales managers and sales leaders that don't have the bandwidth or don't have the support from the organization to be able to give them those types of environments. So I find that it's the success of the rep has a lot more to do with the success of the organization than people really understand. Mm-hmm. And you'll see, like, let's imagine you and I both work at one company and we both do amazing. And then you go off to another company, I go off to a different company, and one does really well and one doesn't. Even though we were both the same neck and neck at that company, it's because a lot of times it's more the environment as opposed to the rep themselves and their capabilities.
For sure.
So any leaders listening out there, just really take note that you are so influential on a rep's ability to book meetings. And not only that, but also the organization to make sure that there is a good product market fit. There's good key messaging and things like that. Those are so important to be successful, that if you feel like you're banging your head against the wall and not getting anywhere, it may not just be you and what you can do.
And for sure, I mean, even beyond that, like having good synergy across marketing and sales leaders is hugely important. When we have a great marketing team, our CMO is she's been in the space for a very long time, so she understands like where this industry has been and where it can be. And then we've got young leadership at the top that has worked young in age but long in tooth in the contact center industry across our leaders, and so they have also worked with this in this industry. They understand the opportunity that Edify brings, and even just beyond like what the technology brings to the space, they recognize too that allowing your people to fail, maybe not repeatedly fail, but fail and learn from it, and giving them kind of that leash to show you what the results were after failure is huge. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've kind of taken away from their leadership style is, it's a young business. And so it's going to have road bumps, and having people that understand that there's, the person that's working for you is still a person, and giving them, talking to them like a person and empowering them to kind of turn things around has been huge and helpful for my own personal development. So.
Amazing. And just for the listeners at home, I'm actually lucky enough to work in a capacity with Edify, and I can tell you it's an amazing organization so far. What my next question is you've kind of answered it a little bit in the last one, but what would you say is your top sales play? So outbound sales play for booking a lot of meetings. Like what is this?
Sure. We run like a modified version of like the Agogi sequence from Sam Nelson. And the thing that we've kind of taken is finding our best fit buyers and really tailoring that using the outbound sales playbook to recognize where there's opportunities for like the Alfred style of response, being able to engage with people that have like engaged with our marketing content, but not with that kind of commission breath shark. Like somebody in our internal chat posted a picture of, it was from The Shining, where it's like marketing, you posted something interesting and then here's sales, like busting through instead of here's Johnny. So, I think that approach to really like identifying what that best fit buyer is, what their motivations are, and kind of building our sequences around that has really helped us multiply our sequences out. So it's not just like a generic Agogi, it's more so like a tailored, I guess, because, the amount of touches and so forth it's kind of like standardized. I mean, you should be in a high touch sequence, in my opinion. So, and then kind of helping our team, the high touch sequences seem to be the most converting for us, but then like having my team shift their focus from having everybody run through that and then having their tiers has really been huge for their ability to just get more conversations, and maybe not necessarily getting at the moment, because we've just kind of turned the corner. I think how long have we been doing outbound? I think we started in December. So seeing that success pretty quickly, that was just a month ago, and we're starting to see people trend towards getting to that goal. Has just been awesome to see. So having a structure and being able to build onto just kind of like a simple playbook has been awesome. And I think it has opened up the doors for our team to go after more targets, find more people in the addressable market, and really kind of get an idea of what the sales process looks like for these buyers, so that we know who needs to be involved when they need to be involved, and what content's going to resonate with them.
Oh, I really like that. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of prioritization. I find that if you're able to optimize what you're doing for different kind of priority buyers, it's unbelievable how much better your team can function and how much better their day is, because you're not spending a lot of high quality time on low touch prospects. Right.
Mm-hmm. Even just recently, like I think our last live call, when we dove into some questions from one of my reps, Heidi, and she's already like taken a lot of the prescriptive measures she learned in that and has applied it to her cold call method. So she's really gotten better at clearing up the intention of her call for more technical IT buyers. She tends to find that they heavily influence what the technology decision outcome is going to be. Oh, who would have thunk it? Even sometimes more so than the end user, and which is in MarTech. I don't think that was the case when I was in there. It was like, if marketing wants this, then IT was at the mercy of marketing team. Yep. It's a little different environment. I think post COVID, and then trying to meet people across multiple channels, there's a lot of weight on this decision. So it's a lot different than maybe some other systems that are like nice to have.
Yeah. And you find that when you go up into that higher deal size, you tend to incorporate more people in the buying center. I call it the buying center, the people that are, involved in the decision, the influencers, champions, approvers, all that. And so when you step into that, 6-figure mark, you tend to just activate more people. Usually it's not that one person sell or buy or whatever,
For sure.
And I do like what would you say was Heidi? I like what Heidi is doing, is being more direct with those, what we found, not even necessarily influencers. They might actually be your champion in this instance. And you're right. They'd like to be direct. They like you to just get to the point and not beat around the bush or anything like that. It's amazing to hear that she's getting some success.
Yeah, for sure. I think she'll either end with her goal of 5, I think, is where she'll end. And just for like some context, until we shifted our focus and then started, I think we had like a State of the Union where we shifted kind of what we were going to do and how we wanted to accomplish it. We looked at historically like the last 5 to 6 months of data, and what we were doing, we completely tore it down and rebuilt it, got way more prescriptive, and started doing, making daily goals that if there wasn't tracking to it by if they weren't tracking towards those goals by the end of ramp, then it was kind of not a good sign. So we wanted to make sure during these first few months that we were really giving them every opportunity to find that comfort level with the daily prescription. And in my opinion, I don't think it's what we're asking isn't a full 8 hours of work a day for that requirement, but it's because I want you to be able to get that requirement done maybe in 4 to 6 hours, and you have an additional time to do some of those list building, some of those best fit buyer analysis as you continue to grow into your SDR role. Because I want SDRs, if they want to stay in SDR, that's fine. If they want to go into CS and learn more some of that technical stuff, I want them to feel empowered to go that direction. But before we can even get to sprouting your wings in other areas of the business, you really need to kind of master this. And the best thing I can do for them is be prescriptive and have, just like I'm asking them to be concise and to the point, I have to do that for them as well. So they know like what their goals are, what they need to get done daily, how to manage their business, what they should expect as far as a paycheck when they do these things. And then the peace of mind that everything's going to follow through. You've probably heard stories about reps having to fight for money they were owed because commission structure was different. Like, no, we are to the point. We actually changed some commission things where in the past, like I've worked in organizations where depending on what closed at the end of the year, I got some like back end bonus. We felt like SDRs were too focused on deals that were already in pipe with that kind of incentive structure. So we did away with it. And just what we would have paid on that, we put onto the front end with booking the next meeting. So I really want to incentivize getting those meetings, having those conversations, and building those behaviors that get you there.
Yeah, Ryan, I really love that what you're saying there is that you want to make sure with your compensation that you're incentivizing the right behaviors. And for reps, you want to make sure that the commission that you're getting or the meetings bonus or whatever is indicative of the work that you're doing and not too tied to things that are out of your control and stuff like that. So I find that's a really good practice to have. And I'm happy to hear that you're taking leadership on that. So with that said, I'm going to do a quick wrap up of what you've shared with us today. Thanks again for sharing all this with us. Effectively, what you're looking at is your team right now is on track to book about 5 meetings a month each, which is roughly about your target, and is awesome because you're looking at 100, 200K deal sizes. So that is actually a good number for those types of deal sizes. Right now, one of the secrets to your success is that with your team, you tend to have your team ramp up for the first 30 to 45 days with a zero goal, which allows them to kind of get used to the right activities, doing the right things, instead of really focusing on their commission. They're focusing on learning the right behaviors and taking those right behaviors to do their job well. And you can see why your team is taking those steps to ramp up and do better, and why they're starting to get to their goals. On the other side of the coin, when you see reps struggling, it's because there may be a lack of understanding from the team perspective. There's a mindset of just really focus on the numbers, focus on the commission, focus on all that stuff. And also another struggle is that when reps kind of get into the zone and they're doing tons of calls and they're hearing no every day, they tend to get held back, right? So they tend to get discouraged and not really take the job in the same way every day. So totally understand. That is something that I see when reps struggle. It tends to be something that leadership has a really huge impact on. But if you're looking for a really top play, it's prioritize your outreach based on tiers. And multi-thread in an environment like the 200K deal, there's going to be a lot of people involved. So multi-thread, make sure you have multiple people in the account, in your list and working so that everybody is taken care of in the buying cycle. I think did that wrap it up pretty well, Ryan? Was that pretty much what you were saying today?
Yeah. And sorry for the poor connection quality here. This is I think in the last year and a half I've been doing this has never been a thing on my end. So I truly do apologize. And now I feel how others have felt when I judge them for their poor internet quality.
Hey, it happens. We all live on Zoom these days, so it totally happens. Thank you for being a good sport and for dropping amazing knowledge on us. Let's hope that bandwidth is better today when we do that live coaching call, right?
No doubt. It should be.
Okay, my friend. Well, have a great day, and thanks for joining me. And to everybody listening out there, happy hunting. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for joining us for the Outbound Sales Podcast. We hope you learned something new that you can use today to start filling your funnel and leveling up your outbound sales game. If you're still looking for more support and guidance on how to get to 10 meetings or more booked a month, then go to outboundsos.com. There's something for everybody. Thanks and happy hunting.